Hi everyone. Just a couple of questions before we start. Is everybody happy allocated in the tutorials, or is there anyone that still has problems with that? No one that's present, that's great. If anyone does have any issues, come and see me afterwards, okay? Or if you're working with anyone where you have to be designated, but if you have a legitimate reason, such as work and a clash, come and see me afterwards, okay? How did you find the presentation last week? It was rather long. I would have liked to see it a little bit shorter, but did you enjoy it? Did you find it useful? Did you recognize any of the characteristics that we have been talking about entrepreneurs that really come through with a person like Ray? I think it's quite typical. You see when you get older, when I initially talked to them about business class, everybody asked, "Oh, how long?" Because I'm very busy, and you're already going to be, half an hour. Eventually, when they come to, you basically have to stop them from talking. You have to be like, okay, time to an end. So they're very passionate about what they're doing, and very explosive when it comes to talking about it and sharing the stories. Okay, today we did have on your outline, it was scheduled for a guest proposal today, but we won't have that today. We're actually going to cover two very interesting chapters from the book. One is marketing and the other one on debt versus equity, okay? And I'm already lining up some very interesting speakers for you in the next few weeks. So I've got 4 people that I've actually committed and I'm working on another 2. So some of those speakers, we will sort of dedicate the whole lecture to that, and in other cases I might have the speaker speak for an hour and then quickly cover some of the book, okay? So we can make sure that we also cover the lectures materials. Now, marketing. How many marketing students do we have in this class? Oh, quite a few. Good. Which area of the business do you think should be concerned with marketing? Easy. That's a good question. Okay, it comes in our business. For people that don't come from the marketing discipline or do not have a marketing background, or maybe not even a business background, because you might have some engineering students taking this, arts or sciences in general. Marketing is not just what you actually see, what we refer to as promotion. So what you receive as a customer, the end product of the marketing function. That's not what we refer to when we talk about marketing. So it does indeed encompass the entire business, and it's the function by which you actually view the entire business from the customer point of view. Let's say that we have any examples. So what do I really mean by this? Say you have a business and you have the admin staff or the receptionist that's commonly interacting with clients. It is very important that every person that comes into contact with the client does know your unique selling points, what you're trying to achieve, and when you're communicating with the customer, they're actually in line with your business strategy and your marketing strategy, because they automatically become the face of your business. What about people that work internally and say they don't interact with your customer? Why would it be important for them to see the business from a customer point of view? Any takers?
They might be making the product, packaging the product. It still ends up going to the customer ultimately, even if they don't speak to them.
Exactly. So if they understand that what they're doing, that part of that they are eventually contributing to this product or service, and they understand the impact of their own piece of work when it comes to the whole outcome and how that may influence your customers and how that may influence your business going forward, then people become more passionate and take ownership in their work, and they really try to ensure that the end outcome is where it should be, or at least that's what we are trying to achieve when we are nurturing the human resource for our business. The other aspect guy, always coming from a small business background like myself, what you're trying to achieve when you have people working for you, basically, is that they don't waste their time in activities that do not really contribute to adding value to their product or the service. Okay, so I guess passing on that kind of thinking and mentality throughout the organization will eventually end up in significant savings and effectiveness. Or at least that's one of the goals. Okay, so let's try and look at everything from the final point of view of the customers. Of course, there are activities that are not value-adding to the end product, but they need to be done. But let's try and minimize the time that we spend on that, so we actually have time to invest into the activities that will make our product or service better than that of the competitors. Okay? Now, these are pretty straightforward. Marketing in a small business setting is obviously not the same as in a large organization. And one of the things that obviously come to mind straight away is that you have limited resources within a small business context. Okay? But some of the benefits that you do have is that you are closer to the customer. So you do have this ability to identify the needs and wants and how these things may change, or get first-hand feedback and information from the market, so you can actually be more flexible and more agile and change your strategies faster than potentially some of your larger competitors. Does that make sense? When we talk about customizing, have the marketing students all heard of that term before? We basically talking about adjusting this process of marketing within the small business, and what we try to achieve. If you remember, we spoke about it in the last lecture, the one before last. We spoke about the different strategies within a business, the different positioning strategies, and how small businesses are usually trying to add value rather than compete on cost. Okay? And customizing is all about adding this value to the degree that your customer is not just happy with your product, but it's almost like a surprise. They are delighted at the end of it. There's this extra factor that will make them think, wow, this really is a good business, and they'll go to their friends and their mates and they'll talk about you. So you will generate that positive word of mouth. So you're not only delivering what you promise through your product or service, but you're basically delight your customer even further. You exceed their expectations. Okay, if that makes sense. So this is really what you should be striving for, working on being part of a small business. And the last point there is important. Many successful small businesses do have a formal approaches to marketing. So they do have business generating systems. They do have a way of gathering all the data and analyzing it and knowing their customers. And we'll talk about all the different aspects of marketing strategies. They do have a marketing strategy to begin with, because there are many small businesses that just don't have a well-formulated and understood strategy. Okay? And they do achieve about average word of mouth. Now, this is the framework that the book generally follows. And in this presentation, we'll try and touch on each one of those aspects. We won't cover everything, so the book is more extensive, okay? But I'll just point out some of the more important things that I think we should be focusing on. Okay, customer needs and wants. We spoke about this as part of formulating strategy and writing a business plan. Okay, so it's in some way there's some level of repetition here. Okay? You do need to identify your customer needs and wants and segment the market, which is pretty straightforward as to how you can segment the market. I'll have a couple of slides on that later on. And you develop this unique selling point. Now, what is the term that we use when we're talking about strategy? We spoke not about your unique selling point, but we spoke about your customer value proposition. Okay? So these are, I guess, different ways of saying the same thing, or they're closely related concepts. So what is it that you are unique at in comparison to your competitors? Okay? Now, in the old days, let's say, 20 or 30 years ago, companies the amount of marketing and effort that goes into even selecting the labels and whether the mosquito is going to be face up, face down, or and all the marketing research that goes behind these kind of decisions. Now, 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, it was all about, yes, we have a perfect product, this is a good product, now how can we sell it to the customers, how can we, make it more attractive for the customers. When we talk about customizing, we're sort of reversing that. What we are trying to achieve is really look at the customer needs and wants and how can we adapt our products so they best fit those needs and wants prior to then starting to look, okay, and now how can we promote this and make it attractive and make sure that our proposition reaches the end customer, okay? So adapting the product or service to the customer, not the other way around. And another interesting point in this slide is that problem-seeking, problem-solving point. So, has anybody heard about, your unsatisfied customer can become your next competitor? Because basically, these are the ideas or the seeds of the ideas that can, someone that's very entrepreneurial may see that if this does not exist in the market, and they basically can start a business trying to deliver that value that is not already there. So if you have an existing business, you actually, by making sure that the customer complaints and feedback effectively reaches you, okay, and that you look into depth and detail, you actually may be able to then develop your product to address those issues, and you basically can then achieve customer demand or find different areas where you add value to your product. Okay? Now, market segmentation, it's pretty straightforward, breaking down the market into different segments of customers that have common needs or requirements. Okay? Now, there's a lot of that information in your book. What I wanted to sort of differentiate from is that you can segment the market based on different, I guess you can use different strategies for different type of characteristics. Okay, demographics is a pretty simple and straightforward one, age and demographic related, I guess, criteria. What would we mean by response? Any ideas? No, water marketing students here. Are you shy or you don't know? Okay, depending on how do these people respond better, so what kind of media or what kind of promotion strategies would work more effectively, it would allow you to segment your market. So say you have a mix of ages from generation X, Y up until, the baby boomers. Well, maybe some of these segments will not be able to respond to electronic media, and there will be a different kind of strategy for you to capture those demographics versus, the younger generations, okay? Geographic, or we generally talk about geodemographics, which really means the different culture that people share in different areas of the world, okay? So those cultural elements can allow you to segment your market as well, if you're international, within scope as a business. And then psychographic, which is interesting, it basically talks about not necessarily what's the wants and need of the customer, but what is behind that. So why would they, how do they feel, why would they actually want to buy your product? What leads them to actually make that purchasing decision? Okay. This is just a breakdown of Australian generations. So different demographics, okay? So this is like a typical, let's say, segmentation of the market, but it will then differ depending on your product. Just as an example, I guess. And some of these are pretty cliche, Doesn't mean that you necessarily agree with all these or I necessarily agree with all these. It's just based on this interesting article, okay? Now, market performance, okay. So we looked at the customer wants and needs. We also track how the market is going in terms of, are these segments growing? Some segments are shrinking, okay? Each product group, how are specific groups of your products going or selling in the market? You look at the past, present, and you extrapolate the future. If you remember, we did speak about that yet again. We're talking about strategy and how you look at the market environment as part of that. So it's exactly the same thing. You don't just do this analysis when you write a business plan in the beginning before you set up your business. You continuously update on that, okay? And do you remember which kind of framework we spoke about when we were talking about this past, present, and future analysis? PEST, for example, which was the political, economic, sociological. So when you're reading those chapters, it's important, and that's what I'm sort of trying to achieve here, that you sort of try and draw the connections. It's not just going, okay, within marketing, I have to know this, and that framework. No, it's everything sort of interrelates and connects in between. Strategy, especially the chapter on strategy, should have connection with every other chapter or everything else that you read. You should live with that in the back of your mind. And we spoke about the 80-20 ratio, the Pareto principle. So you check all these things. Okay, I have these customers, these products. It's almost like internal investigation, you know. You try to understand your business. What are the bolts and nuts of your business? How many products do you sell to different customer categories? How many customers are you? Which are the very good customers? If you group them, how much would you get in terms of the percentage of the business that they do with them? And then you can start thinking, okay, so how much time do I actually invest in nurturing those customers versus the others? How much should I be investing? Is that a sustainable strategy going forward? What if these customers choose to shift to another, one of my competitors? How sustainable is my business, and how can I either prevent that from happening or plan forward so I actually have a backup plan that takes place, okay? And we spoke about customer delight briefly. There's even more in the book. Some of the important things here to consider is what I have been mentioning about repeat clients and repeat customers, and that sometimes we do spend more time nurturing new customers, whereas we should be investing more in existing customers. It really depends, though, on the type of the business as well. Okay, so this last question is quite critical. Not this one. So how much is it worth to the business a loyal customer? It will depend on the type of business. So successful small business owners should know who buys, why they buy, and how they buy. These are some of the things that you can ask your guest speakers when they come here, okay? To try to sort of test those theories. Are they really, do they know those elements of the business? Now, product life cycle is something that we hear about all the time. It is important from a marketing perspective as well, and from a strategy perspective, because there are different levels of sales and growth of sales that you would expect in different stages of the life cycle of a product and also your business. Okay? So if you're entering, say, a market in this stage, or the product is in this stage, so you're starting up your business, you're expecting a certain level of growth in sales. Okay, you plan according to that. But you might be entering a market at that stage or at this stage. Probably a smart thing to do. Okay, so when examining a business opportunity or even an investment opportunity, you should be looking into the broader, and we do have a very interesting speaker, Adrian Finney, that will address that. He was the first person that created the whole concept of retirement villages in Australia. Okay, he's a very wealthy man as a result of that and other things that he did. Okay, but he really invested here. So it is very important to not only understand the market and where it's going, but also understand the lifestyle of the product. And it's important in making the decision when will you enter and also when will you exit. Because you might choose to exit the market before this starts taking place, okay? Or even sell your business or different Okay, environmental awareness. This is somehow similar with understanding the market, but it sort of extends to that. You look at your competitors, and we did speak about a couple of frameworks in strategy that will assist you with gathering and analysing this kind of information. Any clues? So it says here strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So this is a SWOT framework, okay? But another one that you commonly use when you look at environmental awareness is force by forces, okay? And what I did here, because we sort of went through it very briefly last time, I sort of listed some of the key parameters within each box to help you understand how this all comes together, okay? So, most of these are pretty straightforward, but let's look at this. Threats of backward integration. What do we mean by that? So by and large, we define when we have threats of backward, what do we mean by backward integration? Is that clear? Everyone seems I was writing, I'm thinking, as long as they understand what this means. And if you look at here, suppliers will have threat of forward integration. So what do we mean by that? What happens if your customer is a business that decides or they can integrate backward? You know what that means? That they basically start to compete in your industry. So instead of buying from you, they decide, okay, we will manufacture this product ourselves. Okay, this is backward integration. And forward integration in supply chain management context is the exact opposite. So your supplier that supplies you, so you can manufacture, say you manufacture aluminium windows, and the supplier only supplies the frames, but you're the one that manufactures and then sells and installs to the end customer. When your supplier one day says, oh, there's a good profit in this business, and it's not really that hard for me to integrate forward, to start manufacturing the windows myself, then you do have a problem. Okay? So these are some of the little things that helps to think strategically when you're assessing the market and the external environment. So don't look just the market just as it is now. You have to be smart and start thinking in terms of the power of your suppliers and your buyers in your industry. And how is it likely to be in 3 years' time, 5 years' time, moving forward? Okay? So you can actually be ready to respond to changes. Okay, selling. Obviously, sales is a very big part of marketing, and it's important to have the right salespeople, develop them effectively, and make sure that they obviously are well briefed, they are successful in what they do. It takes a certain character for a person to be a very successful salesperson. From a business generating system, it's important that you actually understand that you have a number of what we call leads, which is people that can potentially buy the product, which then converts to quotes. Okay? So these are the people that can potentially buy the product, but then you will send quotes or have a stronger relationship with a number of those. And then some of these quotes will eventually turn into sales. So this is, again, obviously for some types of businesses, it doesn't apply to all businesses, okay? But this is what we need to develop a sales platform so you actually understand how many sales, in order for you to achieve the sales that you want, how many quotes do you need, or how many leads do you need, or how hard you need to be working on developing those new customers and those new connections, okay? This is a pretty straightforward exercise. Do you want to quickly grab a pen and paper and tell me what you think is the correct number for leads required each month? If you know the annual sales budget and the order size, and all you need is those two figures. It's very simple. Multiplication and division. wasn't sure of it. That's one. Okay, how you do this? This is the annual sales target. If you divide it by the order size, then you get how many orders you need each year. If you divide it by 12 months, this is how many orders you need each month. Okay, but then you need to times this by 3 if you need 3 quotes for each sale. So you actually need 9 quotes each month. And then you times this by 6 because every 6 quotes you get, every 6 leads you get 1 quote. Okay, so 9 times 6 is 54. Does that make sense? It's pretty straightforward. You don't need to memorize this table or anything. It's not that it's going to be hard to find an example. Okay? It's just that it gives you an example of what we mean by developing a sales platform. It can be completely different from business to business. Okay? But it's just this thinking of making you understand who buys your product and how much work you need to put into different customer segments to achieve a certain amount of sales. Okay? So what motivates your customers to buy? What search process do they go through to find a supplier, find you? How do they choose to buy from you? Okay, why? What is the satisfaction before and after the purchase? And if they're repeat customers, what has to make them buy again? Okay? So it's actually, it's more and more, but generally speaking, it's few small businesses that do gather all that information. Would you agree with me? I mean, as an experience as say, interacting as a customer with a number of small businesses in your everyday life, it's very few that gather that information. And I believe it's critical and it can assist the small business to actually compete very effectively in the market once they have dissected this kind of information and they gather it in a repetitive fashion. Okay. Oh, and by the way, although they don't gather all that information, it's very interesting. If you ask owners of successful businesses, they seem to have a very good gut feeling and understand, even if they don't gather that information in a, let's say, organized way, because they do deal with their customers personally. They actually have a very good understanding of how this works. Okay? So this is the top of mind marketing approach, which basically says you have to reverse your traditional marketing approach to invest more of your time and effort in your current customers, some in your prospects, and a very small amount into the mass market. Okay? So I would say prospects and the specific segments of the market that you think your customers are in, and then only 10% for the mass market. Now, most of you would have heard about the marketing mix. This is again in your book, and what I would like you to focus on when you're reading this is the four P's. These blue, let's say, circles, okay? Yes, we have the other ones as well, but this is the classical, I guess, aspects that we look at when we talk about marketing mix, product pricing, which is pretty straightforward, okay? And then placement and promotion. So promotion is all the marketing strategies of how you actually communicate your product to the market. Placement is interesting, and I guess a lot of non-marketing people may not be aware of this function. How do you actually maximize convenience, and how do you place your products so that are effectively and actively sales? Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little video of the Nudie, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, I have a bit of an accent, which you have noticed. So the drinks, the natural juice drinks, and what I want you to do is, so what I want you to do is write down product pricing, promotion, and placement. And as you're looking at the video, I want you to identify elements of those four aspects. You may find for some, you may not find elements in other before. Okay, identify them in the video and then we can have a discussion.
Sorry, excuse me. I don't know. I don't know. Just go back.
We love what you guys
It was launched in Balmain, Sydney. It was the brainchild of Tim Pethick. It was launched in January of 2003, and we were focused on providing Australians with delicious fruit drinks with no preservatives. We're a fun brand. Nudie is all about fun. It's all about an experience. It's not just a drink. It's not just an ice cream. It's not just a soup. Nudie's an experience.
Nudie Juice is one of those marketing success stories. A company with an alternative approach to business that's soon has become the fastest growing juice maker in Australia.
We've taken a different approach in everything we've done for a number of reasons. First of all, because we've always set out to be different. In other ways, we've had no choice but to be different because we haven't had the money, so we've had to think outside the square.
When we interview and look for our new sales reps or BDMs, we always look for people that understand what we're about and also have as much passion and love for the brand that we do.
Okay, well, I'll get this sorted for you and I'll let you know when we've got the information done.
A lot of our reps are people that have actually come to us saying, we love Nudie, we love what you guys are about, and we want to work for you. So it makes the selection process a lot easier when you've got people coming to you who already understand and love what you're about.
The main thing with being a Nudie rep would be sort of really being an active participant in the company. I enjoy a healthy life, like I like to do outdoor things. And the values that we try to get across to the customer, mainly that we're a very fun company, but also the most important thing I believe is we're a very honest company. What you see is what you get, especially with our products. We've got no additives or preservatives, so we've got to come across that way in the trade by telling people, you know, this is what you can expect from us, this is the service you can expect, and then providing that service level.
We look for people who want to have fun, people who are positive, people who are confident. We need to be very confident with our product, because if you go in with wavering confidence or not 100% passionate and enthused about the product you're selling, outlets are very, very sensitive, like they pick up on it. And if you're not confident, they're certainly not going to stock it because they're limited in what they can stock.
Basically, when I get into the shop, I want to make sure that obviously we've got products in store and enough product and mainly enough of the right flavours. Our top two selling lines are the Mango Passion Fruit and Cranberry Raspberry, so we've always got to make sure they get plenty of that in the fridge. Because, you know, Nudie addicts are still coming to grab their Nudie, but not all of them switch over and grab a blueberry, blackberry, strawberry, banana if they can't find their favourite flavour. So it's about making sure we've got the right amount of stock and the right stock weights, the most important flavours, always extra stock of those two flavours in the fridge.
So selling isn't about turning up and saying, stock this product. It's actually an exercise in a number of initiatives, and we need to consider them all.
So I'll always come in and check that. Also make sure our fridges are running perfectly. We've got a few of these out in the truck. Just make sure they're turned down nice and cold, trays aren't too full, that sort of thing. And then of course, most importantly, get an order from the customer and stock up the fridge. And if I've brought an order in, which I have today, then I'll always stock that up in the fridge as best as a position as we can get. You also, the other point is you can have two different positions. So it's better to have them in two different fridges if you can. But if you've got two different positions in store, more chance of your product being seen when someone's in here looking to buy, whether it be a drink or food. It'll just be an add-on if they're grabbing a nudie when they're coming for a sandwich. So it's picking up that impulse buy as you go.
So a lot of places might be stocking nudie, but it's in a fridge at the back that no one can see. So if you've got point of sale up or stickers up or wobblers or the staff wearing a t-shirt or a cap, people will know to ask for nudie and they know that it's being stocked there. So it's not only awareness. We've tried to do point of sale that nobody else has really done, and it becomes quite a collector's item as well.
And for the first, I'd say 6 months to 1 year of our business, the only marketing we really had, other than our new vehicles, which were great for us, was point of sale.
Happy Summer, this is the piece of point of sale that we made into a poster and a counter card and a sticker last year for summer. This would be the tent card, so it's perfect for people who don't have room in their shop to display point of sale, but they've got little coffee tables outside and they can put their salt and pepper inside. Perfect little advertising for us. Where's your favourite place to have nudie? Someone might say it's right here on this table.
We thought our brand is highly attitudinal and we need to have a highly attitudinal message. And we kept it simple. We worked on our strengths, and our brand strengths, which are our character, our name, and our colour. And, I think our most successful point of sale has been time for a quick nudie, question mark, nudie character, a day's fruit in every bottle.
This is probably the piece of point of sale that most people have seen. Nudie addiction was one of our first sort of taglines that we went with. It's definitely still the most popular. So we started filling these with resin. I had a specially designed holder done for them so that lots of outlets could have the bottles on display. For places like BP and Coles Express that aren't allowed to have point of sale up, we produced badges for them to wear on their shirt so people would still know that they actually stocked nudie. This is also the shelf leveler. Perfect for places that don't have an awful lot of room for point of sale. We launched that for our smoothies. We try and do a different piece of point of sale for everything that we launch.
All of our nudie reps drive nudie branded cars. When we first launched, because we didn't do any sort of above the line advertising, i.e. Radio, TV, anything like that, our cars were really important for us because it gained us brand awareness out on the street.
We always get great reaction from our cars. The customers love it, the consumers love it. You'll see it when I drive around, especially on the weekends, people sort of stop and pointer and have a look. But then the customers love it as well. It's a great marketing tool for us. We're really getting our product out there by just having a billboard, a constant moving billboard.
We did our first on-pack promotion this summer. So we did a marketing campaign that we ran, which was a chance to win hot air balloons and then 3,000 instant prizes. So an SMS campaign. So every bottle has a number on the back of the label, and people could SMS in that number and they would find out instantly if they'd won a prize. So to try and get the trade involved in that as well, we launched a campaign where if they had 3 pieces of point of sale up, advertising and promotion, they had a chance to win $250. Most of the trade were really grateful, and when we spoke to them, the feedback was that they were really grateful that there was a competition that they could get involved in as well. The communication that we sent out to all trade outlets who took part in the promotion over the summer, telling them how they could win $250 in a flight in the hot air balloon and what they had to do to win. So have their nudie competition sticker on the fridge, place the counter card in a high visible area, and have 5 rows of nudie in the fridge. This is the consumer point of sale that we used for the competition over the summer as well. The coolest, wonderful, super duper, unreal, fruitful, fantastic nudie prize giveaway.
The Fox Black Thunders.
Now, nudie fruit drinks are back. There's a day's fruit in every bottle, so come down and grab your drink.
We've done some good work from a promotional point of view with radio. Radio's been good for us because radio stations such as Nova not only do live broadcasts but they have sampling, and it's great for us because we give them product and they give us airtime in addition to the product in the fridge. the right flavours, the right way, the positioning of the fridge, the point of sale. We do sampling to introduce the product to consumers of particular outlets. And sampling is a great exercise as well because from a business point of view, it allows the newly person to engage with the outlet, so you get to build that relationship and they see that we're putting effort into supporting their store. I think the most successful nudie initiatives we've undertaken since inception, the St Kilda Festival is definitely one that I would say is one of our favourites. We renamed Fitzroy Street Nudie Street for the day. Any opportunity where we can turn up and just have a real good time as a group has always proven successful for us. And we're very excited to be working with Cos and Woolworths because again it's an opportunity to touch more Australians and to nudify more Australians. They accept that we're not going to be committing to TVC and $20 million marketing budgets. They love the fact that we do community-based events and we work with community groups to drive and support the nudie brand but also what they're trying to achieve.
There we go. Okay, that's an interesting question, an interesting story, isn't it, the nudie brand? How many of you have actually tried their products? Okay, almost half. Good. I'm trying to do the same. Awesome. Any takers? Okay, the product I think is pretty straightforward. Healthy, no preservatives. On the juice. What about placement and promotion? What have we heard on this video that you think is interesting or interesting? Yes?
They're promoting what the consumer goals of the businesses they sell.
That is a very good point that I was hoping you were going to make. Okay? So the promotion that they focus on clearly two different target groups. One is the end consumer, and the other one is the outlets, the businesses that carry the brand. Okay, how smart is that? Because it's you have to ask yourself, why do your end up consumers buy this product? How do they buy? And they will buy depending on how well the outlets promote or stock or with you on the right kind of product. Very good. So how do they do that? How do they try and reach, let's say, in terms of promotion, their end consumer? And what do they do for their businesses? Sorry? Yeah. Many different types of points of purchases, all these interesting little things from all the counters to the badges to all these kinds of things. Pretty straightforward. Other brands kind of do that as well. What other things do they do?
Sampling.
Sorry?
Sampling.
Yes, the sampling. And what did they say about the sampling in this regard?
It works for both the customer and the outlet.
Yep, because they're asking the outlets to maybe position the fridges in the right location, give them maybe an advantage over somebody else, but then they are be supporting them by bringing more customers to the outlet through those sampling efforts, trials. What else? Got lots of stuff here. What about in terms of promotion, those competitions that they organize? You remember what they said? How can the businesses enter those competitions?
Displaying at least 3 pieces of point of sale.
3 points of contact, which is very smart. they team up with the radio station in terms of promotion. And it also said something there that's very interesting. You know, smaller businesses not necessarily have, as we said, have limited resources. And what is the deal that they've struck with Nova?
Contra.
Sorry?
Contra. Swapping.
Swapping, yeah. So they can have multiple products. So all these are ways that you need to be innovative when you're setting up a small business. And if you are innovative, you can actually make a big difference, okay, in how your product sells. And they said initially they didn't have money to invest in marketing. So how did they promote the product? What was the main way of promoting the product? Yeah, that's right. So you just need to be innovative. There are many examples of small businesses that have made a difference and have been successful in certain ways. So there's a lot of stuff for you to research and open your eyes to, you know? But you also need to be innovative and stand up and differentiate yourself from your competitors. And I think the most important thing here is also that branding that comes through all the different, you know, the placement, the promotion, the product. So it's all about communicating this, that we are truly, you know, health conscious, that we're a fun brand, that we stick to those little, to that character, and it's so fun and it's exciting. So they have that, and then they make sure that that goes through every point of contact, everything that they do with the clients. It's an interesting story. Okay, so branding is one of the most important things that you need to think about in terms of your business or small business. It takes a lot of time and effort, probably at least about 15 to 20 years for you to say that you have some sort of brand awareness in the market. However, it's one of the most important parts of significantly that you will actually achieve. And when and if you're at the stage of actually selling your business, that is one of the most powerful or valuable assets that you have, is your brand. Okay? So be aware of that, and word of mouth is something very important that builds your brand, and is part of what we were talking about before, customer love. Okay? This is basically the primary way of how you try to build your brand, in addition to all the other things that you do. Okay? That's pretty straightforward. It's just, I guess what I want to highlight here is the importance of positive word of mouth. And there's many different other frameworks that you find around, so there's nothing special about this slide other than the importance of positive word of mouth, especially for small businesses to achieve increased business. Okay? Now, I will give you 10 minutes break, and then we'll get you about 10 minutes. We diminished in numbers, but that's all right. Okay, debt or equity. There's three key sources of entrepreneurial capital. Okay, one is what we call bootstrap financing, which basically means that you try and minimize your costs. You run a really lean operation as a startup, and you thus try and finance it all based using your own personal finances, maybe funds that you can secure from your family or friends. It's basically not interest-bearing capital, okay? And working capital, which is basically shareholders' capital, your own money or shareholders. Or you can go for the traditional debt, bank loan, or of course you can seek equity, which can be either private or public. Now, what is the key difference between debt and equity? The key difference is, yes, you share the company. What does that mean in terms of difference from the financial perspective? So all the profits, say, if you go for debt financing, all the profits will be yours. If you have an equity partner, then some of the profits will be theirs, okay? What other key differences are there? Very obvious one. What do you have to do if you part of the risk, and as a result, they will have share in the profits. Okay? Whereas bank does not care about the risk. They do obviously share part of the risk if something goes completely wrong, but what they usually have, which we'll talk about, is collateral, so they are covered in the case that something goes really wrong with your business and you can't pay them back. Now, so the benefits of bootstrap financing in particular is that you have both zero cost, okay, no interest, etc., but also have total control over the money and over the business, okay? What are the key aspects that you should, or the key checklist, if this is the method that you want to apply? It's on this slide, okay? So you look for quick break-evens, you look for high gross profit out of businesses you sell directly, you try and keep your team as lean as possible, so you basically try to minimize your costs. This is a classic example of people that set up a business and run it from home, okay? They run it from somebody else's office that is happy to allow them to run it through there and use some of their facilities. There is a key and interesting one there that says controlled growth. Why do you think that would be the case? Why would you ever want to control growth? Any ideas?
Grow too big, too big. Try to control your cash flows.
That's right. Okay. Very straightforward. If you grow, you generally need to put more cash into the business, and if you're using bootstrap financing, you may end up not having that cash. So what that means is you might end up, and you'll see some of these examples, I guess, as we move forward in this class, you might end up going bust, not because you have a business that's not making profit, but because you don't have the cash flow to support it, okay? These are again some very straightforward basic things when it comes to debt financing. You have to repay the principal and interest, okay? And it's usually secured against your business or other assets. Now, what do you think is the most common? If you want to set up a business and you go to the bank to get a loan, would they generally just secure it against your business? I can tell you never. They will never secure it against your business unless you have what kind of business I do. Okay, they're looking for assets, what we call collateral, which they will then secure the loan against. Okay? Obviously, the legal risk is much higher than equity, but the cost of debt capital is usually less. So, like what we said before, if you choose to have an equity investor, that means that they will then get a share of the profits. So the cost, the actual cost will be higher of the capital raised. And also, if you really want to raise a very big amount of capital, depending obviously on the collateral that we have, in some cases, equity financing, if you don't have any equity within itself, is your only way forward, okay? Because you won't basically get that level of debt. That's pretty straight. I won't go really into this in detail. This is more of a managerial kind of accounting aspect of small business that we want to look into. Like just highlighting that there's obviously different types of debt. You have short-term debt, overdrafts that you use, basically debt that you need that capital for short-term needs of the business, to run your business, okay? There's intermediate term loans, which is, as it says, leasing to buy certain types of equipment. Sometimes you get personal loans to service those needs, okay? But then you also have the long-term loans, which is what I was primarily referring to when you start up a business. These are the kind of loans that you usually go into. Okay? Now, what are banking seeking? There's an interesting part of the book, okay? Yes, they do look for good cash flow. They look for you having adequate capital, working capital as well. Your reputation thing is very important. If you fail the credit test, there's no way that you'll get a loan. And the specific application of the funds, if you have a business plan, for informed of your overall position. If you ask me, and with full respect to people that maybe their parents work for banks, your banker is not your friend, okay, and it's not your business partner. So you have to be very careful. You do negotiate, so banks will come with their terms, and you have to negotiate what you want, okay? You have to shop around, and if you take my advice, it's best to actually go with different banks, with a number of, say, of different banks. If you have a small business and you want to, say you have your personal loan, your home with one bank, try and deal with your business with a different bank. And if you have a bank financing your business, maybe if you need a legal loan or a short-term loan, sometimes it's best to go to a third bank. So don't necessarily have all your money in one pot, so they can control everything and they actually know everything about you. Sometimes if you divide, you conquer. Okay? This is at least my philosophy. So do not trust the banks. Make sure you know the rules of the game and you can really negotiate around the deal that you think is best for you. If you don't have that kind of experience, look for someone that does to assist you in this process, okay? Now, different types of equity financing. Yes, we have private investors and venture capitalists. They come in handy in different stages of the firm's development, okay? So venture capitalists will normally look for business that's already established before they invest. And obviously you have the option to float your business, but then again, that is an option when the business has reached a certain level and it's successful, and then you move to float to finance it, or sometimes as an exit strategy, okay? How often do you think that we get, small businesses that end up being funded by business angels and venture capitalists? What do you think is the rate? 1%? Sorry? 3? Yeah. That would be kind of small. Okay. This is just a little graph that shows exactly what I said before. Okay, different stages of the life cycle. There's different kinds of equity capital that you normally have access to. And this is an interesting slide that gives you a bit of statistics, okay? Out of all these deals in 2006, this is American data. Oh no, this is Australian data. Only 229 were funded, so it was only 2.6%, okay? So do not take your bets or rely on the idea that you will easily find an angel or a venture capitalist when you start your business. Okay, you have to try and rely on your own finances, or those of friends, people that believe in you, and obviously also banks. Okay, so this is just based on this article, that kind of screen that the venture capitalists do. They have to review about 80 opportunities to make one investment. Okay? Now, these are some financial ratios that you might already be familiar with. There are a lot of financial ratios in the book, and like I said, a lot. Okay, these are the ones that I want you to focus on. Okay, so the return on investment, you take gain minus the cost, which is basically your clear profit, and divided by the cost of the investment. But what we normally talk about is the discounted return on investment. So if someone gives you $1 million today, or tells you, I will give you $1 million today, or I'll give you $1 million in 5 years, which one of the two would you take? Today. Because money tomorrow does not have the same value as today. Meaning you can invest the $1 million today to make more, and eventually, even if you just put it in a bank account, you're going to have interest rates. So in 5 years, you have more than $1 million. Therefore, $1 million today is not the same value as it is in 5 years' time. $1 million in 5 years' time is less valuable than $1 million today. So when we apply this ratio, what we try and do is we discount all the different, say that we have mapped all the different forecasted cash inflows in our business and all the forecasted expenses or investments. And what we do is we use this internal rate of return to discount all these figures back to the present, find the net present value, and then we calculate this ratio. Okay? And that gives us the discounted return on investment. So it can be a signal or slightly different. This is a more accurate representation of the value of your investment. And this is a sort of example. I'm not going to get you to fill this. It's pretty straightforward. It talks about payback. So investors do look at payback, and this is also part of what you do as a business owner, especially when you start either an investment or you start a business, okay? You look at what is the investment. Say I need to invest $4,000 year one and $2,000 in year four. These, by the way, are completely imaginary figures, okay? And this is the projected cash flow that I think I will be having as the business progresses. So what this does is very simple. You take the investment in year one, you subtract your inflow, and this is your unrecovered investment at the end of year one, okay? Which is the same as your unrecovered investment in the beginning of year two. So 3,000 plus 0 minus 0 is the same. 3,000 plus 0 minus 2 is 1,000. This basically, in year three, you get a big cash inflow and your unrecovered investment goes down to 1,000. Then year four, you have to invest about 2,000, so this could be dividends, okay? And you come back with 2,000 unrecovered at the end of year four, etc. So basically, this shows you when you are actually expecting to recover your investment. But yet again, this is obviously not a discounted, we have not discounted these values, so they're not net present discounted values, okay? It's a rough, let's say, back of the envelope kind of calculation that you can do to see by when you are estimating that you will have recovered the investment, the initial investment, or the investment that you've done, either in a business or a specific part of your business. Okay? Now, discounted cash flow. If we are looking at this cash flow, so for example, and then we try and discount all these things to the present to be able to get a more accurate, let's say, representation. And I'll give you a real life example that I want you to work on. It's very simple. It's just one formula for people that dislike mathematics. It can't be simpler than this, but you do need a calculator that to be able to do that. So say you buy a house today for 200,000, okay? In 3 years you sell it for 250,000. So this seems like a good 25% profit. Okay? So the question is, what would be the discounted cash flow for this investment? Okay? If you have this treasury rate, which is basically the interest, let's say the interest rate. Okay? That you use to calculate. Anyone has any ideas? Should be easy peasy, like my son says for the counting. So basically what we're saying is $250,000 in 3 years' time is not the same as $250,000 today. So if you just subtract 250 minus 200 and you come up with this $50,000, it doesn't give you a representation of the real value of this investment. Okay, that's correct. So that's it. That's all. Okay. So If you invest that money in treasury bonds today, I mean, it may not be 6.25% today, but I think that's what it was when I was writing this. You will get 250 in 3 years' time, risk-free. So do you understand the importance of discounting cash flows in the future? It's very, it can change completely your perspective on how much money you've made. You may actually be basically losing money and not realizing that you are losing money. Okay? So, just stressing one more time, which is probably very straightforward for most of you, saying this is really baby stuff that we're doing here. But money in the future is not as valuable as money in the present. And we need to understand this when running a business, and we need to have the tools and the knowledge to be able to assess those investments effectively. Now, we're just going to go, this is the last one, okay? And we're almost finished. It's an interesting one, I think. And it's part of what sort of I do is a bit of a hobby with my husband and also sort of build small things through his business. So say you own this small building company, okay? And you find a triplex block available in Jindana, north of the river, about 650,000. Okay? This means that it costs you, it also costs you 200,000 per unit to construct. Okay? So triplex block, I'm sure you're all familiar with, you can build 3 units. So your total cost will be 650 plus 3 times the 200. Okay? It will take 18 months to build. Units will be worth 520 when completed. So we're assuming that you sell them at the end of 18 months for 520,000 each one. Okay? Now you can borrow against the development with, so let's say, which is not the case in today's market, but let's say with only 250,000 cash contribution. This is the only money that you put in. The rest is debt. So how much are you borrowing? It says here 650, which is the cost of the block, plus 3 times the 200, okay, minus the 250 that you've put from your own pocket. You will also borrow the interest, and all you need to repay is 1,150,000 in 18 months. Okay? Who can calculate the return on investment? So your net benefit, you sell those units at 520 each, deduct the cost. So you have your net benefit, and then your cost of investment plus the bottom. Any takers? It's fine if you don't do it correctly, it's not the end of the world. Any takers? Anyone? Come on. We all want to go home. Remind me that I may not be, might not remember. Anyone? Come on.
64% return, I think.
4%. Okay.
64. I've gone wrong.
Sorry, you? No. You?
21.
41. Got a 64, we got a 41. Sorry, 25, 35, 26. I better not have an exam like that because it will be a disaster. Anybody else? 1.3. Okay. Look, there's a couple of ways of actually calculating this and a couple of different answers that you can do. So, if you do it this way, okay, 520 times 3, this is how much you get from. Minus, let's say your cost is, it will be what you need to repay, okay, the principal and interest, plus the 250 that you put from your pocket, okay? So this is your net benefit. And the cost goes at the bottom. So 0.11 means 11.4%. Did anyone get that figure? There's a couple of people that were very sharp. Next time has people involved, okay? Now, your real cost though is only 250,000, meaning the money that you've taken out of your pocket, okay? So if we do these calculations this way, which all the accountants are going to jump up and say, no, that's not correct, then you come up with the 64%, okay? Because really, the rest is the bank's money. So, is this correct? What do you think?
Why would you not count interest to the cost in the second case?
Basically what I'm saying is, the way to calculate it, if you go by the book, these are the costs of the investment, okay? And this is the return of the investment. This is the right way to do it. However, if you think of it as a business person, you did not actually have to put this money in this deal. It didn't actually come from your pocket. Most of that money came from the bank's pocket. What you had to put in was 250,000 and your smarts and your capability to build these things and sell them, okay? And you ended up with 1,560,000 at the end of it. So then you repaid that. So you end up with a difference of that. What's that? 1.560 minus 1.4? What's that?
150.
So you left with 1 million. No.
100.
No, you left with
410, sorry.
410,000. So you left with 410,000 and you've put 250 from your own pocket. Okay? Yeah, that's not correct because you're an accountant. Are you studying accounting?
No.
No. What are you studying?
Well, it's basically just business management with all of the units that we don't have technically in majors.
Okay. That's fine. So, if you borrow against your equity, what you're making here is a high return on your investment, okay? But you're carrying all the risk. Do you understand what I mean? So yes, you might be making 64% of the money that you've put in this deal, okay? But if you have borrowed that money in your equity, you are carrying all the risk associated with it. So you could actually end up losing a lot of money. So it might look as an attractive deal, but what if the market goes to what it's gone to in 2008 and you can't sell it at that value? That's what a lot of people got trapped into. Okay? And that's how they lost their money in the cash flow problems, this is the last slide, it's a lot of them. There's one thing though that I think is important for you to remember. As a small business owner, if you don't have a good understanding of the finances of your business, if you don't understand where the money comes from, and you make decisions without that basic understanding, then you can actually run into all of these kinds of problems. So it's actually very important. Okay? And you do come across people that don't really have very good understanding of the finances of the business, but they usually have a very good manager that does. Or they're very lucky that. Okay? So thank you very much.